Zimbe, Zimbera Mama Zimbe, Zimbera Mama Zimbe. Now we welcome you in the name of the Lord, into the midst of the people of God.
So in tandem with our conversation on the visit to Cape Coast by the Vice President Kamala Harris, we've been speaking with some stakeholders. You heard us earlier this morning talking to the Ogwatu Fuhin and then Akwami do the Sith. We also have on the phone line Mr. Douglas from Ponro, formerly with the University of Cape Coast. He's well versed when it comes to international relations. And we also have with us on the phone line as well Professor Kweku Boakye. He's the Dean of International Relations here at the University of Cape Coast. Good morning, sirs, if you could hear me.
Good morning, Bobby. Good morning to my brother, Professor Boakye.
Good morning to my senior brother and good morning to your cherished listeners. It's been a while, sir, my senior brother.
Yes, I'm not in Cape Coast, that's why.
Oh, okay.
The next time I'm in town, I will come look for you.
I'll be more than glad to see you.
It's been a while.
I think
yes, sir.
I think it's an exciting home reunion we are having on the phone.
Yes, yes.
Now, let's start off our conversation. Within some few years now, we've had 3 top-ranking officials from the U.S. visiting Cape Coast. Let's look at how significant their visits have been to the community and even to Ghana at large. I'll start with you, Mr. Enro.
Yes, okay. Ogobi, thank you very much, and let me say good morning to your cherished listeners in Cape Coast. Before I bite at the news you have offered me, let us note quickly that the last presidency, the Trump presidency in the U.S., looked down on Africa, and the president is noted to have made some unsavory terms describing the continent. In that period of 4 years of Trump, Russia, China expanded their influence in Africa. So as you can see, the Biden administration is trying to claw back on some of the bad blood created by his predecessor. It's the reason why about a month ago, his wife, Joe Biden, went to Kenya. She went to Kenya, a promise of $16 billion was made, and the aftermath of that LGBT embassy that came. Then we have the vice president coming here to Ghana. And in her interview yesterday, she's made it clear that throughout her professional career, she has stood for rights, and she thinks that others have rights. But if you look at the complaints that the president made when he went to the U.S. about the presence of Russians in our upper borders, Burkina Faso, the idea that the Malians asked the French to go home with their vestiges of colonialism, you see that U.S. thinks that he is staying too back out there and they need to claw back on some of the things that they have, especially when it's true that our relations with the U.S. goes back to as far back as independence. So there must be reason for the Americans wanting to come back. If the LGBTQ whatever is part of the package, Ghanaians will know by the time Kamala Harris is leaving our country. But the indication is clear that Ghanaians don't want this. And everybody must be clear in their minds that we don't want that component, even though she made a promise that she'll help Ghana to fight her economic crisis and get support from the debtors. You have to look at the significance of the visit to Cape Coast.
Yeah, Mr. Before you even look at the significance, one would also say that in 2018 we had Melania Trump here, and as part of her visit, it was all these were some of the ways that the U.S. government started mending some of the bad blood sort of that had been spewed by the then president Donald Trump.
Americans have been our friends since time immemorial. Person-to-person relationship of Americans and Ghanaians is fantastic, it's dynamic. However, the last administration made all of those comments that we have not forgotten anyways. Now, if Kamala would open in Cape Coast and say that she apologizes for the treatment of Africans by the late past president, that would be good to start with, isn't it? Somebody has asked me to say that, what's her comment on reparations? What will be the comment of Kamala on reparations? But she has not come to do the slave trade matter, but she's of a color and texture. We'll be interested to find out what she sees in Cape Coast about reparations, not so. Yes, but let's bite at the meat because my big brother is waiting also to have the go. Cape Coast has a name. Cape Coast as a significance, especially also as a cultural hub. Therefore, talk is made that to benefit from all of these high-profile visits. Let's go quickly that Kamala is a vice president, so she may not be able to make policy statements like maybe the president himself may make. But you go to the castle and its environs, and the artifacts being sold. Isn't it time to have a vast artifact village that we have in our center in Accra, so that people who patronize the fort and the castle can have something good for them to buy and take home? It's about time, isn't it? All that you see, there's private enterprise, yes. Can the Metropolitan Assembly government expand an area, make it vast, so that we can have young men owning their craft and earning something, so that visit to people doesn't become a photo opportunity only? That's one thing that I want to look at and comment on. I know that my big brother is a tourism professor and he's able to take much broader perspective of what I have said. Again, I went to school in Norway and I had a project called Norway in a Nutshell. You could travel half of the country and come back within 2 days. Isn't it about time to say that we are looking at Central region in a nutshell? Traveling to Cape Coast to just see the castle and going back is not enough. I do know that there's a forest reserve at Ifutu. There's also one at at the Kakum. There's Chifu Himang. Then also there's the Asiba Mensi Shrine. Can't we package in such a way that the individual comes and goes on a tour of part of Central region to go home as a package? Again, Buharis has come up. I think I raised it once. People who spoke to me, who noticed there's adverse queries, said, could you say this? So that if you're looking at the grants of the visit, Cape Coast now has become the cultural capital of the world. It has become the cultural capital of the world. We should add also our festival. So as soon as this vice president makes a statement, it's captured all of the international media networks. Cape Coast is sold out there. Let's see how would Cape Coast get at individuals to benefit. It's a national visit and the international visit as well. But how can our city is out there? Everybody knows about Cape Coast from the visuals. You mentioned Joe Biden, I've mentioned Obama came, others have come. It's a very important thing that we can package. But then also let's quickly look at also the environs of the castle and the use that we put to it. I can't say it because you know what I'm hinting at. Can we take it upon ourselves as the Metropolitan Assembly to put the environments of the castle in good shape so that it will be attractive to see and watch as a tourist destination? There's so much that can benefit from this cities are packaging it well.
Well, Prof, let me come to you. In our conversation with the Ogwatufuhin this morning, he raised lots of important points. For instance, when we have such visits, there's the opportunity for the vice chancellors and other important stakeholders also meet with some of these high-ranking delegations. Beyond that, what should the people of Cape Coast be looking at?
Well, thank you very much once again, and good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers as may be. Again, permit me, my brother, to just state a few facts, and then perhaps I'll zone into your question about Cape Coast. And I want to say from the beginning, please do you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening.
Very well. The first thing I want to say is that this and all the visits, the aforementioned visits that you have hinted at or intimated, are, in my view, just the second wave of exploration of Africa. The first wave of exploration of Africa took place, some centuries back with we all know the story about the Portuguese and the castle being the relics of the vestiges of these things. The second point I want to make, my brother, is that Russia, China, USA are all the same in terms of their motives. And their key motive is trade. They are coming to Africa for the same reasons that Don Diego da Zambuja in the past came. And the USA is coming here, one reason, to try and do damage control of what Trump did, obviously. And now they feel left out. Let me, with your permission, churn out a few, just some figures. In 2021, U.S. trade with Africa was only $61 billion. And this is from the Economic Intelligence Unit. 2021, U.S. to Africa trade was $61 billion. China to Africa trade was $264 billion. Almost 4 times, or almost 5 times the amount. Number two, It's interesting to know that it is projected, and Kamala Harris herself said it, that by the year 2050, 1 in 4 people on Earth will be living on the continent of Africa. So Africa, as in the past and as always, still holds huge potential. And there's one author who says that all civilizations have developed on the back of Africa. So the big rhetorical question we want to ask ourselves is, will Africa yet again be allowing itself to be exploited? If our generation continues to allow itself to be exploited, we owe huge apologies to Nana Kwame Nkrumah and co, who first received the Portuguese, because we've always chastised them and said they were not smart enough, and that they allowed the explorers to take over and, with tricks and cunning. But are we going to do the same, 400, 500 years later? So that's food for thought. And I wanted to place this in context, because that is what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And I don't think we need to lose sight of this fact. Yes, they are welcome. They are all, because internationalization is the way to go, globalization is the way to go. But it is time that Africa came to the table with a bigger capacity. It is time that Africa, Ghana, and now to your question, let me drill down to your question about Coast. It's time we came to the table with bigger capacity. And that is what my senior brother, Mr. Nru, has alluded to, in terms of making sure that we can benefit from the visibility that such visits bring. And you may want to ask, Obama has been here before. I think Oprah Winfrey also came here. Melania Trumps came here. What have we done as a town? What have we done as a destination? Now let me bring in tourism jargon. What have we done as a destination to leverage on the huge visibility that these visits have brought us? And like he said, we can build capacity. Why don't we have an arts and crafts village, for example? We can do special packages for them and so on and so forth. So there's a lot we can talk about, but I wanted to zone in more on the political economy dynamics of the conversation for now. Thank you.
Prof, let's expand the frontiers of the conversation. Based on the earlier argument both of you have made, the U.S., for instance, is providing about, or has pledged to provide $100 million to support the fight against terrorism. They've also pledged to improve trade and entrepreneurship. And these are current trends that almost every nation is pursuing. Would it therefore then, based on these things they are offering, call it some sort of a slight invasion?
My brother, if you look at if you look at the economy, this is peanuts. Honestly, this is peanuts. And I sometimes cringe when I hear these things on air, because honestly, I think this is not money that the government of Ghana can't raise and give out. Not to mention the fact that many of these aid packages that are dangled before us get recycled. And it's a whole new conversation about how much of that money actually hits the Ghanaian account, and how much of that money is dedicated to payments for consultants, so-called, and experts, so-called, and their upkeep on those type of projects. And so, respectfully, I'm not impressed by some of these things that come. They are good, but I'm not impressed because, one, you realize that they end up rather strengthening the donor agencies. And I would urge you to read. I'll send you some literature for your own. You can read and share with your listeners later. How these aid packages, quote and unquote, end up even increasing our vulnerability. Thank you.
Mr. Nro, how do we then, as a community, as a town, Cape Coast, position ourselves to benefit from sometimes some of these fringe excesses that these visits bring?
I think I agree largely with what my brother Koku said about the returns of most of these things that come to us. Except to add that this package is not coming to Ghana alone. He said
five
West Africa.
Yeah.
So when that is said, then I would have also now wished that Ghanaian experts, Liberian experts from the continent take the lead. That way, the tendency to repatriate some of virtually all the going back will remain with us, because we have institutions that can appropriately, well resource, police the coastline as it were. So don't let's forget that there's piracy at the sub coast where oil tankers are attacked operations. But back to your question. This lady is coming to Cape Coast, and major arteries on the highway have all been blocked. It makes it easy for security reasons for the Vice President of the United States of America to go to a destination and leave. On that score, no one single individual in Cape Coast can benefit. If Care is not in, you not even see her. When Obama came, not many people saw him because he goes to the he goes to the castle and he's left. On that score alone, I would say that our chiefs, and Akwisiata and his elders, they must do broad consultation with the local people. What would you want to say to the Vice President who is coming? Because I have a certain understanding that Nana will speak. So when Nana speaks, Nana raises the concerns of Igwafu. Nana can Igwafu here share one what happened. If it means also giving the document that police say. In that way, this culture village that we now alluded to this morning can have traction somewhere. Otherwise, the local people on about, they don't even be aware that this one is coming. And they will not even partake because they may not get opportunity to see her. That is one. Two is that we have a metropolitan assembly that has the responsibility to go and develop our city. Years back, they wanted to put some life on the Fosu Lagoon and make it tourist attractive. What happened? There's no need to reinvent the boat. Let them go back to their shelves. Take those documents that need fine-tuning. There are experts in Cape Coast University who can help to put all these fine ideas into practice. That way we can benefit more. But if you wanted to leave it out in the open, hanging out there, the low-hanging fruit, not much will be achieved. If you ask me, from speaking to you this morning, my view is that no two democracies fight. That is straight international politics. No two democracies fight. Ghana is a democracy. The US is a democracy. And we have these benefits because it's all over in the past. When I was a schoolboy in secondary school, we had a Peace Corps who came and volunteered and supported that. We had American Force Service that allowed exchange programs. Professor Wachi here is International Studies Unit of Center at UCC. You see students coming in and going out. How many of our people students, how many of students from the Central Region get the opportunity to go and travel? There's more to do, and I think that the conversation has just begun.
I'll take that as your concluding remarks. And Prof, let me have your concluding remarks as well.
Well, again, I just want to add, like the brilliant submissions my senior brother has made, that no country owes us development. Let's get that at the back of our minds firmly. No country owes us development. And until we take up our bootstraps and take our destiny into our own hands, we'll always be getting these, if for want of a better word, crumbs off the table. When if we were properly organized and we got our stuff right and have got our systems in place properly, we could perhaps talk more, and make more meaningful contributions. We should stop seeing these visits as things from heaven coming, and we should begin to ask ourselves very critical questions. Why we should be excited at $139 million being dropped for something when we can do much more, and like all Mr. No has said, let's look inside. Let's see how Cape Coast can package itself for all these people who have come over the years. What can we do about that? What can we do from a touristic viewpoint? And I'm sure with this at the back of our mind, perhaps we'll be better partners moving forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time.
A few greetings to my people before if you indulge me.
Sure, 30 seconds.
Yes. Let me say good morning to Dr. Isaac, who have been of Department of Basic Education, my colleagues at Center for African International Studies, Catholic Society, Fort Ridge branch, and all my friends in Cape Coast. I'll be coming back in the next moment. I'll be thanking you all for the time and opportunity.
And when you're coming back, I'll be taking my bread from you.
By all means, I'll be a better one. and of course, all my friends in ATL. Chico, Alaji, Akus, everybody that I know, including your manager as well.
All right, thank you so much.
And then to Arsenal fans in Cape Coast, to all Arsenal fans in Cape Coast, that the going is good. We are on course. And as Peter says, believe in the process. Arsenal, believe in the process.
If you most resourceful says.
we have only 10 final matches to win the trophy.
Well, let's see how that goes.
Yeah,
thank you so much for making time to talk to us. So you heard from my guest, Mr. Douglas from Ponro. He's a former lecturer at the Center for African and International Studies here at the University of Cape Coast, and Professor Kweku Boakye. He's the Dean International Relations here at the University of Cape Coast.
Now we welcome you in the name of the Lord.